beating Simon Wheelahan and putting it over the bar. A second point for Joe Dean.
Yes, that's our big game here on the programme tonight, and if you didn't already see it live with us this afternoon, well, I can promise you some excellent hurling entertainment over the next hour and a half. Well, that hour and a half will also include analysis, of course. Tomas Mulcahy stays with us from our earlier transmission, and Peter Finnerty joins us here on the programme tonight for his thoughts as well. And we'll also be naming our man of the match from this afternoon's semi-finals. That and more here on the programme tonight. Coverage of yesterday's All-Ireland Camogie semi-finals, and also our face in the crowd. Now, we zoomed in on one fan at Croke Park this afternoon. It might be you. We have some Sunday game gear to give to you. Now, just one face in the crowd, but there is something for everyone on the Sunday game from this week on. Now, later on, I'll be giving you the address to write to if you want our car stickers. Every county is catered for, and I'll have more about that later on. But right now, though, we're going to get straight into this cracking All-Ireland hurling semi-final. The big questions going into today's match perhaps were, could Cork's lively young forwards produce the goods in this big test? Could Offaly bounce back from their Leinster final defeat and inconclusive quarter-final against Antrim? Well, as it turned out, both questions were answered in the affirmative. But the question as to who would advance to the All-Ireland final had to wait right to the very end for an answer. Commentary is by Ger Canning.
This Offaly side shows just one change from the team that scored a facile win over Antrim in the quarter-finals. However, no place for Billy Dooley. He's still on the bench. The great news is that half-backs Hubert Rigney and Kevin Martin are able to start again after what looked really quite horrific injuries here just a fortnight ago. In the midfield, it's JD and JP. That's Johnny Dooley and Johnny Polkington. Great experience there. John Troy is listed on the 40, while Joe Dooley has recovered sufficiently to reclaim a place on the inside forward line alongside John Ryan and Joe Erity. The Cork selectors have opted for an unchanged policy, putting faith in the hurlers who have brought the squad this far. Donald Cusack is fronted again this afternoon by Diarmuid O'Sullivan, one of the best full-backs in the country. It's a consistent half-back line, while Mickey O'Connell is again paired by Mark Landers in midfield. No room for Alan Brown and Kevin Murray in attack. Shonny McGrath and Neil Ronan start at wing forward and corner forward. It's Dickie Murphy who gets the match underway. It's Cork who won the toss and up to play from right to left in the first half, which means they're playing into the breeze as John Troy knocks that one ahead. Donald Cusack having to come quickly from his goal to get there ahead of Joe Erity. The battle at midfield there. Johnny Polkington. Mark Landers playing that one back to his centre-half back, the marvellous Brian Corcoran. Up into the corner this one comes towards Ben O'Connor. He's been tightly marked by Simon Wheelahan. Wonderful sense of anticipation about Croke Park. That's Mickey O'Connell, who's been an absolute revelation in the championship so far this season. Limerick born, his third championship match today. For Brian Wheelahan, this is his 32nd. It's a huge one. Down inside there towards Joe Dooley. Winning the race here, however, is John Brown. Getting it away there from John Troy. That's broken down. Centre half forward there is Fergal McCormack for Cork. Good work there by Martin Hannamy. He's been given some wonderful service for Offaly over the years. Up towards John Ryan, strongly built lad. Got the first of the goals against Antrim. It's nicely caught under pressure here by Hubert Rigney. And it really is wonderful to see Hubert back in the Offaly shirt once again. So many people really feared a bad injury. This is another man who's come back, Joe Dooley. Trying to play it into space. The intention was to link up with John Troy. John Brown got there first. Now Troy, wonderfully gifted hurler, very skillful. Taking it away from Wayne Sherlock, man of the match in the Munster hurling final. Michael Duignan now, stopped initially. Back to Troy, looking to plant this one inside, but that ball has gone wide. It's the first wide of the match. Michael Bond, who's done really well to come in the last 12 months and transform Offaly's fortunes. Down towards Ben O'Connor, scored a marvellous point against Clare. This is out to Johnny Dooley, and Johnny having a right go at this one, and it's a huge one inside his own 65-metre line. Johnny Dooley really bringing the Offaly fans to their feet here, and this is the reason why, as the ball was knocked to Johnny, there was the 65-metre line, his own, so he's a huge distance out. Rising up with Fergal McCormack, cross towards Mickey O'Connell, trying to get the kind of start he enjoyed in the last two matches. Kevin Martin bringing the Offaly fans to life once again with that wonderful clearance, stopped there by Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Getting rave reviews this year, but John Troy is in to try and deny him. Here's Joe Erity, linking up well with John Ryan. Offaly look for another score, and that is a beauty. John Ryan from Shannonbridge. And Offaly have made the better start in the damp conditions. Very good individual work here by Ryan, his first point of the day. This is contained very well down there by Ben O'Connor. O'Connor with a tight angle here, looking for Cork's first score, and just not getting the range, however. Shorty McGrath trying to keep that ball in play, pursued by Martin Hannamy. And in the end, it's... well, the umpire was saying it's gone wide, but I think Dickie Murphy has other ideas. And it's going to be a 65. So, Mickey O'Connell stepping up to take this one. Very much a Middletonian, of course, although I mentioned earlier, Limerick born. 8 points in his first match and a man of the match against Waterford. And 5 points in the second, which of course was against Clare. Dropping this one in well towards Ben O'Connor, spills away off him. Fergal McCormack turning nicely, and he's put it over the bar. Cork's first point comes after 7 minutes. And it's Fergal McCormack from Mallow. And good strong work here by McCormack, this nephew of Mick O'Connell, the famous Kerry footballer. Joe Dooley, that's flicked away by John Ryan. Across here towards Paddy Mulhare, and that is dropping in and over the bar. That's a fine point by Paddy Mulhare of St. Rynagh's in Offaly, and Offaly lead once again by 3 points to 2. This was wonderful work by Paddy Mulhare. That's Wayne Sherlock fumbling somewhat, but not Brian Corcoran. Beyond Shonny McGrath. Again, it's Joe Dean here, such a good player. Major influence as ever for Cork, beating Simon Wheelahan and putting it over the bar. A second point for Joe Dean. Well, this was a really fine score, going way out near to the sideline, and didn't look too much of an angle. Offaly trying to win their own puck outs here with Michael Dignan going right through the heart of the Cork defence. That's a great response to Dean's point just moments ago. Michael Dignan's first of the day. So they go point for point here. And it's 4 points to 3. This was Dignan coming storming through, going by Brian Corcoran, and a fine finish. Still a very misty afternoon here at Croke Park, as that is won by Wayne Sherlock. Towards Shonny McGrath, looking for a big performance this afternoon. Racing past Martin Hannamy. Lobbing it in and lobbing it over the bar. Well, that'll do his own confidence a great deal of good, acknowledging the fine ball, but he showed wonderful pace, and he ties it up at 4 points apiece. A very good contest. Johnny Dooley, what a response, that's a brilliant score. Johnny Dooley got the first score of the match, now he's got a second, and Offaly lead by 6 points to 5, and the match is everything people had been predicting. Here comes Wayne Sherlock. Nice ball across towards Mark Landers. Decent ball inside this time to Dean, dropped right in front of him against Kevin Keenahan, taking the fullback out of position, and a delightfully hit shot by Joe Dean. And really it's the quality of the pass up to Dean and Dean's trickery after that made the score possible. but so many quality strikes in a match that's produced 13 points so far. This is where Cork managed to narrow the gap down to 1. Joe Dean's fourth. At the other end, it's John Brown. You'll remember his brother Richard, of course, full back in the Cork teams of the past, back around 1990. And Alan Brown is a brother. Alan's among the subs. Strong hitting in midfield there. Joe Rarity, not Joe Rarity, rather it's Brian Wheelahan, as Hubert Ridley left it there. Nicely across towards Joe Dooley, looking for another point, and he's got another. 2 shots at the goal and 2 points for Joe Dooley. One of the great hurlers of the past 20 years, and he makes it 8 points to 6. He's a player with a wonderful temperament and benefited from that pass coming from Brian Wheelahan, and then got around his man and struck it sweetly over the crossbar. Back once again towards Brian Wheelahan. Dropped in towards Troy once more. What a catch this time, and he did just enough in it, in losing his boot as well, to keep it away from John Troy. Here's Joe Dooley. Troy has got it, and Troy has the space and the quality and the accuracy. John Troy has put it over, and I noticed that Billy Dooley is being prepared, and indeed not just that, as we watch the replay of this once again, which Joe Dooley set up for his forward colleague John Troy. What a quality point. Johnny Dooley, aware he could have been hooked, dropping it in well, and John Brown adjudged to have been holding Billy Dooley just on the edge of the large rectangle. Protest from the corner back, but the referee has made his decision, and there wasn't a great deal of contact looking at that in reprise. Oh, very, very pacey first half. The new canal end in the background, and that is put high up into the new seating. Johnny Dooley with 4 points now, and he's made it 10-7. Alan Brown can't take it. Instead, it is Brian Wheelahan. This is Ben O'Connor trying to make some headway and not allowed an advantage. The referee has blown the whistle, and it's going to be a free to Cork, and Joe Dean's already on his way out as Simon Wheelahan feels his head. Of course, his brother Barry is a member of the substitutes this afternoon. So, it's going to be Joe Dean to take this. Referee wants Brian Wheelahan back the requisite distance, which should be 20 metres. So in injury time, Dean strikes and Dean scores what is his 6th point of the match. Well, he's had a 100% success rate from frees, and now just 2 points separating these teams close to the break. Sean O'Halpine is beaten for this by Paddy Mulhare, but there's assistance here as ever. Comes in the figure of Brian Corcoran, held up there by John Ryan. Free to Cork. Corcoran dropping it in towards Fergal McCormack, but it spills loose once again to Brian Wheelahan, up towards Joe Dooley. Ryan went there first but didn't take possession. It's Dooley instead, but Ryan sticking to his task well, and Fergal Ryan emerging with it here. Great rallying sight for the Cork team and fans, I'm sure. That's across the goal there by Shonny McGrath. Alan Brown's pouncing in there, well stopped by the goalkeeper initially, and now Brian Wheelahan to try and take it away. Not too many goal chances in the first half, but there was a late one there. Good work by the keeper. Mickey O'Connell now, pouncing again, across towards McGrath this time. Shonny McGrath, turning it on his left-hand side, players wait inside, it's Alan Brown, one of them, looking for a chance to kick this ball in. Offaly standing firmly there in front of goalkeeper Stephen Byrne, and the referee has been whistling furiously. This is what happened just moments ago there as Alan Brown got that into his hands. Simon Wheelahan was trying to prevent him getting that ball away. And the referee has brought the play out after all of that, and he's throwing it up on the 20-metre line. Hubert Rigney against Alan Brown. And away in the end by Kevin Martin towards Joe Dooley. Back it comes once again to Mickey O'Connell, and the referee sees a foul by Johnny Dooley. And Johnny once again protesting vehemently that it was a perfectly fair shoulder in his view. Dickie Murphy has a different view on things, however, and a free to Cork. Here's what happened. This is where Johnny was coming across, and I think the referee's view is that he was into the back of Mickey O'Connell. So, 3 minutes of injury time has been played. Joe Dean. And that's another one by Dean. 7 points. 5 frees taken, 5 frees converted. And the Cork fans very, very happy with this late rush of scores by their team, because there's only one between them. And the referee whistles for half-time here. It's been a wonderfully entertaining first 35 minutes and a little more. Jimmy Barry Murphy makes his way in, and at half-time, Michael Bond's side just edging it. The All-Ireland champions leading by just a point. Dignan hitting it from some distance out, and it's gone to the left. Well, he is really a very strongly built man and a fierce competitor as well, something which Jimmy Barry Murphy would be well aware of. This is Mickey O'Connell linking up with Sean O'Gahal-Bean, dropping it in towards Joe Dean. Kevin Keenahan, good work by the fullback, almost hockey style, getting that ball away as Johnny Pilkington has gone down with an injury. Alan Brown on the ground as well. And that is where the stick of Alan Brown collided accidentally with Johnny Pilkington. Thankfully, Johnny's okay. Cork attacking. This is Ben O'Connor playing it back towards Mickey O'Connell. Cork trying to gain mastery at midfield, and that's O'Connell with his first point of the match. He levels it up. They level for the third time, and it's 10 points apiece. So delighted Cork fans now. And this was set up by Ben O'Connor, took the tourist trail there back towards Mickey O'Connell, and a very fine shot in the mist. Once again, it's Cork defending on their own half-back line. John Brown coming out to help. Brian Corcoran, great work, leaving 2 Offaly players on the ground in his wake. Towards Sean McGrath. He certainly has the pace and the beating of Martin Hannamy if he gets decent ball, and he's put Cork in front. He can certainly make things happen. And I noticed that Offaly have changed the marking alignment, and Simon Whelan has gone across on McGrath. Now the pressure back on the Offaly half-backs. McGrath this time against Wheelahan. That's Keenahan, nicely taken up onto his stick here by Ben O'Connor, and O'Connor playing beautifully now has put it over the bar. His first point, and he makes it 12-10. Some transformation. Remember, it was 9-6 in Offaly's favour approaching half-time. But Offaly are doughty fighters, and they will battle right to the end of this game. Down to Alan Brown, and Brown shoots and puts it over the bar. Very good work by Alan Brown, playing today in his 8th championship match. Offaly then tried to freshen up matters in their forward line, but once again denied possession. And that was Wayne Sherlock's strength carrying that ball forward. Here's Wheelahan, that's Simon Wheelahan. The hand pass to Paddy Mulhare. Stopped by Brian Corcoran, wonderful positional set, but he's robbed there by Troy. That's great play. Only John Troy could possibly do that. A second point for John Troy. And Offaly's first score of the second half comes after 7 minutes, and it's 13-11. That was the steal of the day. I notice that Paddy Mulhare has gone to midfield now alongside Johnny Dooley. Michael Dignan right half forward, and Johnny Pilkington has been moved by the Offaly selectors there onto the 40. And that is to try and limit the effectiveness of Brian Corcoran, who's been storming into this match. Beyond Fergal McCormack, and this is won back beautifully here by Simon Wheelahan. Dean chases. This is Pilkington now on the 40. Missed his stroke the first time, and I think that was by the presence of Mark Landers. That's a big one, that's a huge one, that's a wonderful score. Johnny Pilkington's first, and now the gap down to just one. Two teams serving up another marvellous hurling match. Pilkington, the ever-dependable. Great score. Driven inside, Hannamy coming across, lets it slip down this time. Joe Dean fumbles, falls, and in the end it's back with Brian Wheelahan once again. Gaps appearing now, players tiring noticeably. Johnny Dooley lobbing it down towards Joe. That's Fergal Ryan there trying to keep it away from the attentions of substitute Gary Hannafy. Inside towards another side, Billy Dooley, and that's over the bar, and the sides are level. The team's level for the fourth time now in an absolutely wonderful game. Billy Dooley's first, making it 13 points each. Gary Hannafy played it inside, and that was enough for Dooley just to get the stick at it, and it's gone over the bar, and they're level again. Mickey O'Connell trying to set it up for Brian Corcoran, but instead it's Johnny Pilkington, and again Brian Corcoran. He is giving some display this afternoon. This is Shawnee McGrath. Inside towards Ben O'Connor, this time Martin Hannamy getting out first time, missing his stroke however. Persistence there on the part of Alan Brown and Kevin Murray, and in here's Ben O'Connor. Offaly defending valiantly, but the referee's whistle sounds, and it's going to be a free into Cork, and a chance for them to go back in front again. It was Ben O'Connor going through that time. Now, see if you can spot the foul. Yes, it was the contact with Hubert Rigney's leg, I think, but not too sure it was intentional. 5 out of 6 for Joe Dean this afternoon. So, a gilt-edged chance for Cork here, and for Joe Dean to get his 8th point. Some very good striking by Dean. And this, the scoreline. Cork back in front by 14 points to 13. Knocked out by O'Halpine. Beyond Shawnee McGrath. And this time for a push by Mickey O'Connell, it's going to be a free to Offaly. And Brian Wheelahan this time being entrusted with the puck. Now, will he fancy his chances against the breeze of putting this over the bar? He's going for it to try and make them level once again. He's got it! Brian Wheelahan, the captain, has made it 14 points apiece, and they are level now for the 5th time. It comes back to Kevin Martin at left half back. Martin Hannamy back out towards Hubert Rigney. All great stars in the past and starring here again this afternoon alongside Simon Wheelahan. Brian Corcoran, this time beaten for it by John Troy. Impishly taking it inside towards Pilkington, expecting the shoulder to come from Diarmuid O'Sullivan, and here's a chance, and it's gone over the bar. Once again, Johnny Pilkington on hand to turn the chance into a score, and once again Offaly show that they're so difficult to beat. The champions lead by 15 points to 14, but that time it was the influence of Troy again, the one man who seems to be able to trouble Brian Corcoran. Towards Joe Dean, great catch. Lovely skill by Dean, a smaller man beating the taller full-back to that ball. Back it comes out again towards Alan Brown, and blocked down by Brian Wheelahan. Martin Hannamy trying to get that ball away. Intense pressure on backs on both teams. Wheelahan away towards Paddy Mulhare. Tremendous contest down towards Troy against Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Backed up and supported by the man of the wing, Wayne Sherlock. Here's Alan Brown, expecting the challenge to come in from Hannamy into the back, and it's going to be a free to Cork. Disappointed, Martin Hannamy makes his way back. Michael Bond has his team really well prepared, but watching as Joe Dean lobs it in! And that was Kevin Murray trying to perform his party piece, but he was inside the small rectangle, and it's a free out to Offaly. Johnny Dooley against John Troy against Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Troy wins it once again. Stepping away from trouble here is Michael Dignan, the referee, not allowing an advantage. The ball ended up in the arms of Donald O'Cusack, but it's going to be a free to Offaly. Ted Owens and Jimmy Barry Murphy hatching plans. So Johnny Dooley striking this one, putting it high, accurately so, and over the bar. Offaly lead by 2 points. 5 points for Johnny Dooley, and it's 16 points to 14. And Micheál Martin, the Education Minister, there in the background. And, of course, the Health Minister there from Offaly just in front, Brian Cowan. Michael Dignan trying to take the ball up. Here's Sonny McGrath. McGrath racing away. Hitting it inside there. Ben O'Connor's after the goalkeeper came, didn't collect, and it goes wide. It was a chance. 10 wides now for Cork. Of course, they had 19 in the Munster final, yet still went on to win. So this Offaly lady here, I'm sure having her fingers crossed that the side can hold on to their lead and go through to another All-Ireland final. What a record that would be. A small base of hurlers in a small county, and they've performed wonders over the last 20 years. That's Wayne Sherlock doing his own performing of wonders. Up to Kevin Murray, and that's a fine strike. Kevin Murray puts it over the bar. Both Cork forward subs have now scored since coming in, and the gap is down to a solitary point. This was the product of some very good and strong running here on the part of Kevin Murray. Took his man out of position, struck it over his left-hand side. Fergal McCormack. Lobbed in towards Ben O'Connor. Murray's there as well. Keenahan makes a wonderful catch. Some great defending by players on both teams this afternoon. Full credit to both sides. So well prepared, and that ball is picked off the ground there by John Troy. He's protesting that there was a little hop on it. His protest once again in vain. All right, will the change then made? And this free to be taken by Joe Dean. So that's the confirmation of Johnny Sheehan's appearance here. Joe Dean taking plenty of time with this one. About 50 metres out, struck well and put over the bar, and the sides are level yet again. 9 points now for Joe Dean, and the team's level now 6 times in the game, and only 5 minutes still to play. Well, they're all enjoying it, living on their nerves, I'm sure, as well. Well, now possession absolutely vital here. Johnny Dooley trying to link up with a colleague. Instead, it's belted away. Up once more towards Ben O'Connor. O'Connor taking on Hanami. And it's like the score he got in the Munster final, because he's rejoicing again, jumping for joy like the fans. Ben O'Connor's second point. This time, absolutely no doubt about the validity. Very reminiscent of the point he got against Clare. And now that's 2 in this match for young Ben O'Connor. He was playing in a vocational schools final only 2 years ago. Cork by just a point, but still all to play for, all to fight for. 3 minutes left. Johnny Dooley, I'm sure, looking for one last big push from his colleagues here to retain their interest in this year's championship. But the All-Ireland champions are being led by the Munster champions. Joe Dean fouled, but given an advantage. The hand pass outside here from McCormack as far as Mark Landers. Brian Whelan gets it back. And Offaly can turn this possession now into a chance, but it's once again the marvellous Brian Corcoran denying them possession, denying them space, firing this one himself high in front of the goalkeeper. Down it comes towards McGrath, and it's gone wide. Just for a moment there was a possible goal chance for Cork. But real pressure on Stephen Byrne's goal, and the defenders did really well on this misty afternoon here. It came down, and McGrath was on hand, but he puts it outside. At the other end, it's John Brown. Linking up here with Sean O'Halpine. Cork, who haven't been in the All-Ireland final since 1992, with just a very slender lead. Fergal McCormack tried to widen that advantage, and Fergal McCormack has put it over the bar. 2 points for Fergal McCormack. Celebration time for the fans, and Offaly will now probably feel that they need to get a goal. Here's Johnny Pilkington taking on Wayne Sherlock. Still Pilkington, lacking assistance just now, running right in there. Being helped, and it's outside, and it's wide. Oof, real pressure on Donald O'Cusack's goal. The charge led there by Johnny Pilkington. Down towards the Cork inside forward line. Inside towards Joe Dean. He has support in the shape of Ben O'Connor. O'Connor's to his left. Dean trying for the shot himself, but where he would be hooked by Kevin Martin. Turns around beautifully. He puts it over the bar. 10 points for Joe Dean. Is that now enough? Deep in injury time. 19 points to 16. Oh, Johnny Pilkington lets it drop down. Joe Dooley's after it, the man who played in the All-Ireland final against Cork all of 15 years ago. Dropped inside there. Offaly players get it. Mulher had the shot, it's blocked. Comes back down against Rashad O'Halbeen. Coming out next, John Brown. It's Wayne Sherlock, in fact, and Sherlock gets the ball out. The whistle goes. It's all over, and Cork are through to the All-Ireland final after a most dramatic and exciting, tense and wonderful game of hurling in the Guinness Hurling Championship. Cork go through. Offaly have been mighty champions. They won it to the backdoor system last year, and it's celebration time for Jimmy Barry Murphy, for the Cork fans as well here. And the match ended. Cork, the winners by 3 points, 19 points to Offaly's 16.
That was a great game, Mark, in fairness. Offaly are tremendous All-Ireland champions, and at one stage in the second half it looked like we might pull away, but they really put it up to us, and we were very lucky to escape with a win in the end, I think.
This is a wonderful victory because it was really put up to you today.
Well, Offaly are a tough team, experienced team, and they certainly weren't going to give us anything easy, and they went down like great champions that they are.
You know, we've been knocking the door now for the last couple of years in Munster. We made the breakthrough this year, and you know, it's terrible to lose in the semi-final, and you know, at least we got to the final now. It's a tremendous occasion, and you know, we have a lot of young players in our team, and it'll be a great experience for them.
I think there's a great self-belief within the team. Obviously there's a massive respect. It's always the same with inter-county players. Like every player has fierce respect for the other player, you know. But you have to have a massive self-belief, you know. I think we had that within our team. We never really spoke about the opposition before any training session. We took it as another game, and again, you know, towards the end of the game today, you know, we had great hunger, and we just drove on, and we weren't afraid to take on Offaly at the end.
First of all, I'd like to say well done to the Cork team. They hurled a fantastic game, and to Jimmy Barry and all the lads involved with the team. I mean, the thing that they played under very, very harsh conditions out there. The ground was very, very heavy, very, very slippery. But I was so proud of my own players. I mean, the thing that they give their best. Maybe we lapsed for maybe 3 or 4 minutes at the start of the second half, and we conceded 4 points. Then we went 2 points up, and I thought maybe we should have held it then, you know. Made a few mistakes, and possibly, you know, I'd hold my hands up, and I said I made mistakes on the sideline too.
Absolutely devastating now inside the dressing room. I suppose the older players especially, I'd be taking Joe Dooley and Martin Hanamy. Like, we've put an awful lot into it, and to go down in a tight game like that is very, very disappointing.
I know Offaly are not that happy with match referee Dickie Murphy today. They seem quite annoyed with the Wexford official.
Yeah. Well, it was just pointed out to me in the dressing room there that we never got a free inside the 40, and you know, I don't know whether that's because Cork were such good defenders, or, you know, I'll have to look at the game again, but there were certainly some decisions I was amazed by, you know. Granted, we gave away some blatant frees, and Cork put them away, but definitely there was 2 or 3. I'll have to look at the video again, and like, as I say, Dickie was criticised after a couple of matches early in the year, and he won't be getting any Christmas cards this year, I can tell you.
The hope, the excitement, the disappointments. The all-consuming All-Ireland. Buy the new look Highball and you're in with a chance to win tickets to the last hurling and football finals of the millennium. Highball, don't miss out.
It's more than just a food. It's a step forward for pedigree nutrition. Now the Pedigree Chum Complete range has a new blend of protective vitamins and beneficial oils which help build strong natural defences. For a dog to be right on the outside, you have to build it up on the inside. New Pedigree Chum Complete, developed with vets, top breeders recommended.
Deodorant body spray Adidas. Fresh energy.
If we were picking people for our team of the future here at ESAP Digiphone, what would we be looking for? Someone who believes in teamwork. Naturally. Someone who plans ahead. Definitely. But of all these young players, the one we will be most interested in is the one that wants to go the extra mile. To be the best. The one for whom second place just won't do. ESAP Digiphone, making it work for you.
The boy you hit is dead.
Never drink and drive. It's always too late to say sorry.
Good morning, children.
Good morning, Miss.
Full moon.
Full moon.
Half moon.
Half
Hmm.
moon.
Total eclipse.
Total eclipse.
Good. Now, let's do it one more time. Full moon.
Full moon.
McVitie's Jaffa Cakes, deliciously self-centered.
Don't miss the Suns' free Super Goals video. Oh, unbelievable. Featuring the best 50 goals of all time. Offer starts exclusively in tomorrow's Irish Sun.
Why do you reckon they run breakfast cereal ads in the evening?
Dunno.
Kellogg's Just Right. Not too heavy, not too light.
Look it up, check it out. The Red Book for what's available in your area. Tosh Own, the business and shopping guide that's used nationwide by thousands. It's guaranteed Irish.
Dúlagus, Blána Hoige, the Hawk.
Well, yes, it was the most frustrating way possible to lose your All-Ireland crown, having played so well, and that frustration showing in our interviews there before the break. But for a neutral, well, that game today was such an enjoyable game, and obviously from a Cork perspective, a brilliant occasion, and that's our cue to introduce Tomás Mulcahy and Pete Finnerty on the panel here tonight. Pete, we'll pick up on Brian Wheelahan's point in his interviews from earlier there in a moment perhaps, but first of all, in terms of the game generally itself, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more entertaining game given the conditions out there.
Yes, when I saw the rain this morning, I said we could end up with a dour affair in Cork or in Croke Park. And I thought it mightn't suit Cork, but then it wouldn't suit Offaly either because they haven't played many games in the rain in Croke Park. But it was a great spectacle for hurling. Some of the scores that were taken throughout the game, the pace that was played at, a game where Offaly showed why they're All-Ireland champions, they took control, they led throughout most of the first half. Cork battled well at the end of the first half. Cork came out storming like they didn't do against Clare in the Munster final. Offaly took over again, and then Cork finished off the game with 5 points without reply. It's a great reward for Jimmy Barry and company after 4 tough years of work, but you have to look at Offaly and say they went out with a magnificent performance.
They certainly did that, but Tomás, obviously in Cork tonight, there'll be a lot of satisfaction from that. OK, the All-Ireland isn't won yet, but nonetheless you win the All-Ireland, won the Munster Championship. It's been a good summer so far.
Yeah, it's been a very good year, and I'm sure Jimmy Barry Murphy and his management team won't rest on their laurels because they're in an All-Ireland final. You know, when you get to a final, you want to win it, and certainly today was a big stepping stone for his young team, and they showed great character especially in the second half period there when Offaly came back after Cork went into a 3-point lead. And there's great credit due to the management, but I mean, a team can only play its part on a given day. Two teams played today in what I thought was an outstanding game of hurling, and I'm not just saying this because Cork win the All-Ireland semi-final. I think from a neutral point of view, the quality and the sheer class on very difficult occasions. The first touch was absolutely brilliant from every player, and you'd be looking at kind of goalkeeping errors today, maybe dropping a high ball into the square, dropping it around the square, and you'd see a load of goals. Today there wasn't any of that. The two keepers were excellent themselves, and it was a great entertainment.
And again, given the weather conditions, Pete, there was only one yellow card in the course of the whole day. Now, this brings me back to what Brian Whelan was saying here. Not happy with Dickie Murphy, the way he handled the game. Has he any, like, no frees inside the 40, he says? Has he a point, do you think?
Well, he has a point in the sense he's captain. He has to come in from a losing dressing room, and in a game so closely contested, one or two decisions that will go with you or against you, you'll feel will decide the issue. Now, there were decisions on the field that I thought, looking as a neutral out of it, could have gone either way, and there's a few that Offaly will feel aggrieved at, and I picked out one or two of them. But when they look at it, and I look at it again, I see Dickie was justified. Here we see the point that never was, but it's quite clear that Diarmuid O'Sullivan was fouled for that ball by John Try, who goes on. Now, the whistle is blown at this stage. At this stage, it should have stopped and gone back, but the fact the point was scored made it even more hard on the off people to accept. Here we see the one that he picks off the ground. Look at quite clearly, the ball was on the side. John put no hurley under it or anything like that. He picked it up. That was another point for Cork. I picked out two incidents where I thought Cork may feel aggrieved if they had lost the game. There we have John Brown backing back towards goal. Two people going towards goal, as I said, losing balance. And again, I thought that was hard on Cork. And here we see what I think is definitely a foul. Joe Dean coming out to the ball. Hubert Rigney coming back and puts a hurl round about him and knocks him. And there was no free for that. And there was only a point in it at that stage. As I said about Brian, I can understand his frustration. But I watched the game, I looked out. If I said anyone got the rub of the green, I feel maybe Cork got one or two decisions. But I would not say that Dickie went out and made blatant decisions. And in a game in such poor conditions, and there were desperate conditions out there on television, if anybody was looking at it, an awful lot better. Like, the conditions were dire out there, and to keep the game with one yellow card, I think only one other name taken, and to give us such a spectacle, I think Dickie had a good game.
Well, I have to agree with you on that. Tomas, let me just pick up something else that we saw today, and a trend that we've seen a couple of times this summer. It's when a referee makes a decision, he is surrounded by players who argue the point with him all the time. This seems to me a new trend of attempted intimidation of referees.
Certainly, and we saw it last weekend again with the Clare players when they pulled down the opposing forwards in that first half of the match when they actually gave away frees. The 3 or 4 players actually ran to the referee protesting their annoyance at the decision going against them. But I think referees in this situation maybe will have to be sterner. They have yellow and red cards in their pocket. It doesn't have to be a red card, but I mean, you see it in soccer matches. If there is an attack on a referee like that, you can give him a yellow card. In those situations, if you give someone a yellow card, I think they'll back off at that stage, and you won't have so many people running at the referee.
Okay, let's come back to the more positive sides of today's match. The skill level. We've talked about it earlier on. It was so high today, in any conditions.
Yes, I mean, hurling is the greatest game in the world to me, and I mean, it epitomised today the quality and the hurling skill that was in the game today, and it's all about skill and it's about pace. And here we see some incidents of first half. Here we see Brian Cochran seems to be on his own to clear a long clearance on the field. Great timing, great skill by John Try to rush away and break the ball. Here we see Shawnee McGrath. First touch is absolutely excellent. Takes it down on the one hand into his hand, runs away from Martin Hanemy, has a look up, doesn't need any power to actually put the ball over the bar. Little bit of skill to get it over. Here we again we see John Try, he steals the IOGR head, wins possession from Brian Cochran, looks up, into Johnny Pilkington. Johnny Pilkington takes his knock and actually straight over the bar. Excellent pieces of play. And a guy today with young shoulders on his head, Ben O'Connor, who had an excellent match. Martin Hanemy does nothing wrong in that situation. He doesn't allow the forward to come inside him, but that's sheer class, and there's nothing Martin could actually do. But Ben O'Connor had an excellent second half today, and he'll be very, very impressed with his performance.
You'd also be impressed, Pete, with the way the smaller men, maybe in those Cork forward line. When we saw the rain this morning, we said, oh, this isn't going to suit Cork. Fellas like Joe Dean, Shawnee McGrath, maybe like a dry pitch, dry ball. Certainly didn't affect them today. It
didn't affect them. In the first half, I thought Cork were hitting too many high balls down to the smaller forwards. Yeah. In the towards the end of the second half and at the beginning of the first half, they were getting it right, they were spraying the ball wide. These small Cork forwards, they have brilliant pace. They'll be out first with the ball, and as Tomas just showed there with Sean McGrath, your first touch is brilliant, and they have an eye for the post. If they get a step on you, and even that point, you couldn't blame Martin Hanemy for that point that Ben O'Connor scored. Like, there was nothing Martin could do. He stayed goal side him. O'Connor had a look up, like he did in the Munster final, put her over the bar. This is the quality of players they have, and when it's right, they seem to be able to produce it.
One aspect maybe to look at the other sides of it, Tomas, that Cork will look at in the weeks ahead before the All-Ireland final. Didn't do particularly well at midfield today. Now today you had one midfielder taken off, the last day you had a different midfielder taken off. You don't like to see your midfielders having to be removed from the play.
Yes, I suppose you can look at that in a negative side of it, and I suppose in a positive side as well, maybe for Mickey O'Connell, that he learned an awful lot from today. It's his first big experience of being in an All-Ireland semi-final. To be taken off is disappointing, but he can put that behind him, and he can knuckle down now for the All-Ireland final. A few things Cork will have to improve on today. I didn't agree with Dermot O'Sullivan moving from his full-back position out to take sideline balls on the right-hand side of the wing, leaving himself exposed. John Troy was very cute on a few occasions when he moved away across the field, away from his marker, and won possession once or twice. So that's something they'll have to improve on. And again, I suppose, in a game like today, there's going to be nerves, there's going to be tension. Cork looked a very nervous team maybe in the first 10 or 15 minutes, but settled down to play a good game, and they look forward to the All-Ireland final.
The fascinating thing, Pete, with the All-Ireland Championship now, with the three teams that are left, like Cork are obviously a coming team and have been all through this summer. Kilkenny have looked good all through this summer, and Clare, of course, is still there, and they have the experience above the other two as well.
They have. Next Sunday is going to tell the final tale in the chapter, and we'll see whether we'll have a Munster final or whether we'll have an old traditional final. A lot of people would be saying we'd love to see the two young teams in it. There are still a lot of great fans out there for Clare. Clare against Galway last Monday, they showed that they're still not a spent force. They closed the Galway forwards down very well. If they can close the Kilkenny forwards down as well, next Sunday they're not going to give them the same leeway as they got against Offaly. It's still all there to play for, and regardless of who's going to be in this final, it's going to be a classic, and Cork are going to bring some crowd. If Clare are there, they're going to bring some crowd, and Kilkenny are always going to bring a crowd.
All right then, OK, the next task that we're going to ask Pete Finnerty to perform here on the programme tonight is to name his man of the match from that game.
Well, our man of the match today goes to Brian Corcoran from Cork, Cork centre back. Here we see him under the high ball, catching and doing exactly what you want your leader to do. Catch the ball, make a few steps, and hit the low ball down to the forward. And here we see his powers of recovery. They've lost the ball at this stage. Still he gets ahead of the man, gets control, takes on three Offaly men, has a look up, sees that one of his Cork forwards, Shawnee, is available again, and gives him the low ball. I think Sean was a player that had to come with a big performance today. He was the only player that had played in Croke Park before this in a senior championship match for Cork, and he had to deliver. I know they got away with Mickey O'Connell at midfield not playing well. Had Brian not performed, well, I think Cork may have gone down. Now, those big performances from the likes of Brian Whelan at cornerback or at wing-back, Simon at cornerback, they all had great games, but I think Corcoran was my man of the match today.
OK, that's Pete's selection then. Brian Corcoran is today's man of the match. Congratulations to him. And on its way to him, our specially commissioned Sunday Game Watch. So, that for him. And now news of something for you.
Let your car wear your county colours, whatever your county. The Sunday Game has 32 different GEA car stickers to give away. Lots of them were handed out to supporters at Croke Park today, but you can also get yours by sending a stamped addressed envelope marked with your county name to Sunday Game Stickers, P.O. Box, Travel 24, RTE, Donnybrook, Dublin 4.
All right, get cracking on that then. Now, yesterday here in Dublin, this time over at Parnell Park, we had the All-Ireland Camogie semi-finals. Now, in those, Tipperary were expected to advance at the expense of Down, while Cork put their All-Ireland crown on the line against Kilkenny. Now, the other interest in this year's Camogie Championship was in the fact that the games have now gone to 15-a-side on the bigger pitch. Commentating on those two matches now is Marty Morrissey.
And it's Noel Kennedy again. This is looking dangerous for Down. The defence has been split open. Chance of a goal. The pass of the quality comes back to Linda. Pass of the quality comes back to Linda Mellerick. Oh, and a great save by Miriam Holland. Holland out of position as Sinead O'Callaghan tries to ensure victory for the champions. Back down there is Marina Downey. Kilkenny need to get this pressure, and that surely must be one of the highlights of this All-Ireland semi-final. Linda Mellerick driving in a real bullet of a shot, and Miriam Holland saving superbly. A place in the All-Ireland final at stake. Is there one attack surely in Kilkenny? Cork have it yet again. Well blocked down, comes back outside. Now it's all or nothing for the Leinster girls. There's a free for Kilkenny outside the Cork 45-metre line, and this is the most important free that Sinead Millay has taken all afternoon. She has scored 9 points in this All-Ireland semi-final, but can she put this over the bar? Deep into injury time, 32, almost 33 minutes played. This to level the match. Dropping it in, it's dropping all the way! It's a goal for Kilkenny! And the most amazing finish of all time. The All-Ireland champions going for their third All-Ireland title in a row, and the dream is all over. Kilkenny have snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat, because certainly Kilkenny looked at least lucky enough to get an equaliser and perhaps that replay, but instead the ball went all the way to the back of the Cork net, and for Cork it's desperate, heartbreaking moments, but for Kilkenny unlimited joy. The full-time score from Parnell Park: Kilkenny 2 goals, 12 points, Cork 1 goal and 13. Sinead, first of all, I've got to ask you, did you really go for a goal?
To be honest, no. I was just praying that it should go over the bar, and hopefully we would have gotten a draw out of the match today. But thank God it went under the crossbar. Delighted that it went into the back of the net.
Tears of joy, I'm sure, were spilt outside there on that pitch when that final whistle went.
Totally, just everyone is totally elated, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's probably the sweetest way that anyone could win a match. It's, you know, a hard luck for the losing team to be on the receiving end of it, but that's the way it goes. Someone has to lose on the day, I suppose.
4 years is a long time since we've been in All-Ireland, and like as I said, dreams are made of this. You know, it's everybody's ambition, be it hurling, camogie, to be in an All-Ireland, and we're going to be there now on the 5th of September, and we'll give it our best shot, and hopefully we'll come out winners at the end of the day.
And facing Tipperary, you've played them many times, I believe, in challenge matches.
That's right. We have a good rivalry going on and off the field. We know many of the girls, and we played them previously in practice matches this year. We've won and we've lost, so it will be a very good game to watch, especially with it being the first year of the 15-a-side, and whoever wins it, it'll be great coming into the millennium.
It certainly will. So then, All-Ireland champions once again losing their crown over the weekend. This time the Cork Camogie team. But it will be interesting to see if Tipperary can stop Kilkenny reasserting the dominance that they enjoyed until a few years ago. Kilkenny-Tipperary All-Ireland Camogie final. But now though, let's see what we can give you. First of all, it's time to find out who is our face in the crowd. Yes, our face is from Croke Park this afternoon. Now, we assume that he's a Cork supporter, so if it's you or if it's somebody that you know, then get in touch with us with some proof of identification. And this is the address to write to. It's Face in the Crowd, RTE Sport, RTE Donnybrook, Dublin 4. And don't forget to tell us your name and address, and again, send some proof of who you are. A passport-type photo will be fine. And then we will send you this. It's our special Sunday game kit bag, and that is full of gear. But I'm afraid that we have no winner from last week. So, if this is you, or if you know who it is, get in touch, because his gear is waiting for him. And waiting for you, if you're interested, is a Sunday game sticker. Now, if you'd like a special Sunday game car sticker in your county colours, then just send a stamped addressed envelope to Sunday Game, P.O. Box 2224, RTE, Donnybrook, Dublin 4. And mark your envelope with the county sticker that you want. OK then, right now we're going to take a check on the weekend's main results in Gaelic games. The Guinness Hurling Championship All-Ireland semi-final. Cork 19 points, Offaly 16 points. Now a look at some of the minor results over the weekend. That hurling semi-final at Croke Park, Tipperary 3-13, Wexford 1-8. In the Leinster football final replay from yesterday, Dublin 2-13, Wexford 1-11. And the Ulster football final replay in Clones today, down 2-7, Donegal 9 points. And the All-Ireland B hurling, Wicklow 1-16, Carlow 2-11. In junior football, in the All-Ireland final again from yesterday, Waterford 2-12, Meath 2-11. That's Waterford's first ever All-Ireland title in Gaelic games. In intermediate hurling, the All-Ireland final, Carlow 1-15, Roscommon 2-12. And the Bank of Ireland Ladies Football Championship in Ulster, the junior final, Tyrone 3-13, down 1-4. Now, the Borden Gaeilge Camogie All-Ireland Senior Semi-Finals, the ones we've just seen, Tipperary 6-22, down 1-3, Kilkenny 2-11, Cork 1-13. And you can check on all of the weekend's GAA results on the pages of Airtel here on RTE Television. Page 240 has the inter-county results and page 560 the club results. And make sure that your TV is tuned to Network 2 for those. Well, now, looking ahead to next weekend, Breaking Ball on Friday night looks ahead to the second of the All-Ireland hurling semi-finals, and those hurling semi-finals form the basis for our live transmission this day week. That's Clare versus Kilkenny, of course, in the senior decider, along with Galway and Kilkenny in the minor match earlier in the day. And we will be on the air at 1:45. Well, all right then, that's where we must wrap up on this first weekend of the All-Ireland semi-finals for 1999. My thanks to Pete Finnerty and Tomás Mulcahy for joining me here on the programme tonight. Well, it's been a day of joy for Cork's hurlers, back into the All-Ireland final again after a bit of an absence. For the county's Camogie players, however, the weekend ended in bitter disappointment. Their dream of a 3 in a row shattered by Kilkenny at Parnell Park yesterday. Some you win, I suppose, some you lose. From all of us here on the programme, good night.
It's to level the match. Dropping it in, it's dropping all the way!
Final since 1992, with just a very slender lead. Fergal McCormack got to widen that advantage, and Fergal McCormack is going over the bar. 10 points for Joe Dean. Is that now enough? Deep in injury time. And Cork are through to the All-Ireland final after a most dramatic and exciting